be aware. Bring your hand up aware. Down to your tummy aware. Same thing, left arm. Slide your right arm. Bring it out. Bring it down. Bring it down. That's one side. Do it at your own pace. So everything has to go through the body first. You're good at it, you can look at your mind directly. And through this body, you feel the air, the cool breeze of the AC in your body, in your hand. We have free air. You feel that? Normally you don't feel that. Unless you pay attention. You're well. We all have this largest sense organ in the body, 1.73 square meters. Artificial, you know that. Internal organ. Because you have to calculate medicine according to the square meter. How big is this kid? So do I do on the case? The way your eye open, you can look down, a meter in front of you. You feel. How do you feel? Feel externally. Just like a feel externally. Feel externally, like at the physical level. Comfort, discomfort. After waving your hands all the while, you get a little fatigue. Your joint pain can be a little tough. You can feel the pain too. So just feel that externally. Internally, you sense it. That's happiness, unhappiness, unfulfilled. Externally, you feel as comfort or discomfort. So interchangeable. From comfort become discomfort, make you unhappy, and that will fulfill happiness here. Like I said, set your mind with joy, so it leads to your bliss, give you calmness, happiness, conducive thoughts, steady mind to arise. You practice like this, and you see the arising and ceasing of the feeling. The feeling is very fleeting. Arising is the sheet of wind that hit your body, cool air. As you go around your body, energize, your body ideally is more discomfort, settle in, so to experience such feelings. And feeling is there, you can acknowledge, be mindful, aware, observe. And see feelings freely. Feelings but feelings. No person, no being, no suffering. Not truly you or someone. It's impermanent, imperfect, and selfless in nature. It's not worth thinking. So if you practice like this, you're craving concepts, not thinking conceptual world. Not thinking anything in this world. Same thing with the mind and mental practice. Or you can do it with the walking way. You will show you body scanning technique and also very good feelings. This one you can just feel it. And when you move all day long, you just keep on doing it. Don't do it public like this. You're crazy. Just circle your finger. Do it at your own pace, but I'll show you a little bit more. I think I have 5 minutes, but get a lot more later. You can stand and do the same thing. Stand up. Now stretching a little bit. You feel the body? Yeah, you can do the same thing. Just stand. When you go to bed, you do the same way, fall asleep mindful and wake up mindful. This is called self-awareness technique. The Buddha described as aware when you're stepping forward or backward, like you go to the airport restroom. You have to be very careful. Back up, don't get the toilet bowl. Luggage, backpack, where I should have put it. So, aware when you look ahead or sideways, aware when you stretch and bend like you're doing now, aware when you get dressed, do that at least twice a day, get dressed, aware when you eat, drink, chew food, taste food, like John Calvin used that in his class, just to use erasing, that you chew aware of taste, not to swallow, just aware of later on to swallow. So aware when you urinate, defecate. So by every aspect of life. Aware when you walk, stand, sit, go to sleep, or laying down. So it covers the four major portions: walking, standing, sitting, laying down. Aware when you wake up, aware when you talk, aware when you remain silent. Those are self-awareness techniques, or subtle movement. So you keep on working like this, and then you gain those insights on doing this kind of thing. You see, I think my impermanence is perfect with service. Not worth clinging to. Every time you cling to it, it becomes your own burden. So mind gets smarter and disenchanted with such work. So since there's no space, you can just walk stationary and you can feel that. Don't fixate your mind at the hands or the foot. Just simply know the movement and observe body, feeling, mind, mental mind. So you can go out and walk like this, no one gonna know. I have space, I'll show you. So no one knows, meditate. Okay? So when you're bad, just reboot yourself by doing that. Then lay down, same way. That's not standing. Okay, I think I'll just stop. But thank you for your attention.
Next we have Don Sloan, Dr. Don Sloan from Mid-American Books Association in Augusta, Missouri. Don is a friend of mine, and I was really happy to learn he's got a promotion recently. He used to be known as Don Shushu, and he is now, which means Uncle Don, and he's now known as Don Yeye, which is grandfather Don. So congratulations on your promotion. He took lay precepts in 2005 and Bodhisattva vows in 2007 in the Chan Buddhist tradition with Master Jiru. Don originally began to study and practice of meditation in 1969. For the past decade, Don has studied and practiced with Master Jiru and Venerable Kongshi in Augusta, Missouri. Don was a professor at the Graduate School at Washington University for 17 years and currently practices cognitive behavioral therapy, traveling around the country offering seminars on cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness. Don will discuss mindfulness of the mind.
you want to hear that talk. So mindfulness of mind. Everyone knows what this is, right? Any question about this? Any chance you might confuse this with your foot? Not much chance. Everyone knows a hand when they see it. The mind is just like this. You know a hand, you know what a hand is. You know the mind, you know what the mind is. Dr. Konsar talked a lot about all the sensory inputs that we have. Practice focusing on the body, as Venerable Namaruchi talked about. But when we talk about the mind, we talk about no attachments. Even when we talk about the feelings, we need to learn about not being attached to the feelings. We have the feelings, we're not attached to them. We have thoughts, nothing wrong with the thoughts. We spend so much energy on the thoughts. How much energy do we spend? How much time do we learn about letting go? So recently people who know me, they know I have vision problems. So every 6 months now, I go to see the retina doctor. And I get to have a special test from a machine that's called an OCT machine. It has to do with being able to use infrared to scan the inside of the retina. Now, it just so happens that when you do this test, you get to look inside of a blue light, radiant blue light. And then a red line comes down, and if your eye gets distracted by the red line, they have to start again. Maybe not at the top, but where you left off. So for most people, they practice 5-10 minutes to get through the scanning of the retina. But I've had lots of experience, all time now. And in the tradition, Tibetan tradition, they talk about how it is that at the moment of death, you visualize radiant blue light. So for me, when I go in to take the test, for me it is the death rehearsal. Oh, I'm very excited. This is great. I look inside and I look at the radiant blue light and I don't pay any attention to the red line. In 20 seconds I'm done. But they still charge me the same amount. Then a few days later, I get to go for my every 5-year colonoscopy. Oh, this is exciting. I know about this. If you've had this experience, Woody Allen, very good comedian, says that his friend Diane Keaton was afraid of death. Don't be afraid of death, he said. Death is like going to sleep. It's like when you have a colonoscopy. If you go, you're out. So death is a colonoscopy. Life is the day of prep. You know this experience. Have to drink this terrible stuff all day long and you can't even suffering. So I'm going in for the colonoscopy, I'm practicing mindfulness of breathing. Then they put the propofol into the IV and they say, oh, in a few minutes you'll be out. And I practice visualizing the radiant blue light, death rehearsal. So this time, I woke up very clear, no grogginess in the mind. Totally clear mind when I from the procedure. I call it rebirth. To be able to know where the mind is, this is very important. So, in the teaching in Anapanasati, this is mindfulness of breath. In the third tetrad, they talk about how we practice mindfulness of the mind in the third tetrad. In 3 areas, they've got 4 areas they call sensitive to the mind, waking up, satisfying the mind, joyfulness, steadying the mind, one-pointedness, releasing the mind, letting go. These 4 practices. There's a lot of technical stuff. I'm just giving you the basics. 4 parts. But in Satipatthana, the foundations of mindfulness, when we get to mindfulness of the mind in the 3rd part, the mind is broken down into 8 pairs. This is very detailed. Now, most of the time, if you read a book on mindfulness, the foundations, you'll notice that there's a large section on mindfulness of the body. There's a good-sized section on mindfulness of feeling. There's a little tiny section on mindfulness of mind, and then there's a large section on mindfulness of phenomena, objects of mind. Very few people talk about mindfulness of mind. The only one that I can really refer you to is Bhikkhu Analayo. He goes into great detail into mindfulness of mind. One of the reasons is because he's also interested in the later developments of how mindfulness of mind was practiced in the Mahayana period. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about his investigation and also my own investigation into understanding mindfulness of mind as a therapist. So when we think of mindfulness of mind with these 2 pairs, it's very important to realize that mindfulness of mind, these pairs, are like continuums, like temperature gauges. It's not just one or the other. It's somewhere in between, and you can see where your mind is. So, for example, the first pair is called the mind which is involved with lusting, greediness, passion. How much is the mind involved with that, or how much is the mind the opposite? No lusting, no greediness, is passion. So we try to see where our mind is by observing carefully, how much do I want things? How much craving does my mind have for such and such? For clothing, for a nice car, for a bigger house, for all of the accoutrements on the material plane. How much does my mind want? Or what kind of beautiful, handsome person do I want to have as a mate, dissatisfied with what I have, wanting more? Lusting for some kind of sense-based pleasure. How much is my mind involved with that? And how much of my mind is not involved with that? When that comes to my mind, how easy is it for me to release it and let it go? Same with the second pair. The second pair is, how much do I dislike things? How many people are on my list of people that I don't like? I want to run into so-and-so. I don't wish well to so-and-so. Critical of so-and-so. like this person's behavior. All of the aversion and judgment that we have on a dislike level, how much of that is going on in the mind? And if something like that pops into the mind, how easy is it for us to let it go? So we can look into the mind and see how much of this negative aversion we have. The third we might look at from the point of view is called ignorance and delusion, but also for the layperson particularly confusion, darkness, no light, no awareness, not really understanding what we're doing, what our purpose is. Why am I doing this? And what is my purpose in my life? What am I doing? This kind of confusion that takes place, being upset by this and that, when somebody does something, we take it so personally, we get confused by it. What's happening? When something takes place, we worry that it's going to affect us permanently. Distress. When something happens, we see it as making our life less perfect, more distress. So being able to have awareness, the lack of this ignorance, we can see impermanence, we can see the unsatisfactory nature of things and accept it. And we can also not take things so personally, not get attached so much to this self, this personality. These three areas, we know the three poisons. For anyone who studies Buddhism, they know the three poisons very well. We can examine them in mindfulness of mind. This is quite simple. The next three pairs are quite complicated. And this is the reason I think that many of the teachers, they avoid going into great detail about mindfulness of mind, because trying to understand the next three pairs can be very challenging. I'm going to cause some suffering today, and I'm going to try to explain it. So the next pair, we call the fourth pair, Samkhita. What does this mean? So you notice that all the pairs have on one side a wholesome quality, and on the other side, unwholesome quality. Wholesome is no lusting, unwholesome, lots of lust. Wholesome is no hatred. The unwholesome is hatred, etc. But when we get to this next pair, in the original teachings, these two pair are both unwholesome. This doesn't make any sense. And that parallels the section called the hindrances that we're going to hear about soon. So there's something a little confusing, because this means distracted, or restless, and sloth and torpor. These are the terms that are used. Why would all of the other pairs, if we look at number 5, 6, 7, 8, they're all opposites, but this one pair is not opposite? This doesn't make sense. So the Chinese, and they all remember that the Pali Suttas were translated into Chinese, into a set of teachings from the Nikayas in the original Pali. Then they're called agamas, collections in the Chinese. So when the Chinese looked at this, they were also confused, so they made a change. In the Pali, Samkhita means the shrunken state of consciousness. The consciousness has fallen into sloth and torpor, called the shriveled or contracted state of mind, and the opposite of that, vikatan, Chitam. This is the distracted state of consciousness, the state of consciousness accompanied by agitation. It's called the dissipated mind. Both of these are unwholesome states, but when they got to the Chinese, they recognized that there may be something that may have been mistransmitted because it's not parallel to the other ones, so they changed it. And in some of the agamas, they changed it into a different pair using the Chinese word he, which means unified. As if a person would tighten their belt so their pants wouldn't fall down. Yes. So that it's just unified, connected. And so on the other side, it's falling apart, distracted. So the mind is either unified or collected or distracted. So they changed it in one agama. In another agama, they changed it to distracted, not distracted, and scattered, not scattered. So they divided it into two sets. Yuan and Wulian. So these two sets of opposites, Sango, Wusango, these scattered, not scattered, this solved the problem, either way. So the first question is solved. So when we're in meditation, we can, because of the permission given by the Mahayana school, we can do both. We can focus on how distracted the mind is, and we also, whether it's falling into sleepiness, and we can also see if it's restless or not restless. Pretty simple solution. The second question has to do with the fifth set of pairs, Mahagata. So what does Mahagata mean? So this is complicated. It says he understands the exalted mind is exalted and the unexalted mind as unexalted. Or the developed mind is developed and the undeveloped mind is undeveloped. So what does this mean? So actually, in order to make sense out of this, you need to be able to go to the original suttas